Hey, it's Malliotakis. I'm here in Washington. I'm going to give it a second for people to log back on. I got a bad connection before, so I got kicked off when I was trying to do my explanation. But it's really important that I get an opportunity to let you guys all know what's happening in Washington. Obviously, you know we are about to hit the debt limit, and we would default if we don't take action. And look, no negotiation is obviously perfect, right? You don't always get what you want. Sometimes you get what you need. That's what the Rolling Stones said. And I think this is a matter of that. We're about to vote shortly on what would be the biggest deficit reduction in the history of the United States. It would actually be the first time that we've actually cut spending, biggest cut rather, in the history of the United States. And we're going to see less money being spent next year than was spent this past year. And that has not happened. As a matter of fact, the last 10 debt limit deals, there was absolutely nothing relating to cutting the deficit, cutting spending, or reducing the deficit. So this is, I think, something that is historic. And how did we get here? It is because people gave Republicans the House majority. That is critical to note here. We are now 1/3 of the federal government. They had full control. And when they had full control, the Democrats, they increased spending by $10 trillion in just 2 years. We have come in. We've been responsible. We stopped all the massive omnibus spending bills, right? No more of these days where you've got to read the bill to know what's in it. We now get 72 hours. We're getting a Congressional Budget Office score on the impact on inflation. We are making sure that if you're spending money, you got to cut it from somewhere. But what this bill actually does, remember, we are 1/3 of the pie here. So Democrats control the Senate, they control the White House, and yet we managed to not only do what no other Congress has done before, even when they had complete control of everything, okay? We managed to get an agreement where we're going to reduce spending next year. We'll be spending less, the biggest deficit reduction in history, okay? But we're also implementing a 1% cap. We're making sure that we claw back unspent COVID money. We are stopping President Biden from hiring any IRS agents this year. And that is going to be a fight that we have every single year going forward. We are making sure that we're implementing work requirements. We're expanding those existing requirements to cover more individuals, to help lift them out of poverty and make them less dependent on public benefits. Overall, we'll save taxpayers money as well. And we are doing, I think, a lot of good here. So I know some people have been critical of the deal, but let's be honest of what would happen if we didn't do this. We would see, number one, a default, okay, which means seniors wouldn't get their checks, veterans wouldn't get their benefits, our military wouldn't get paid. All right, we would see the economy spiral. We would see the U.S. dollar tank. We'd see people's retirement savings go down because the stock market will really go down significantly. It's not a game here that we're playing, and we need to be responsible adults. So considering all of this above, I think that Republicans got a very fair deal that puts us on a right path. It fixes fiscal trajectory for the future, and that is why I'll be voting yes on this. But I think it's important for people to understand where we're coming from, because President Biden and the Democrats said they would not negotiate at all with us, okay? For 6 months, they would not negotiate with us, and we forced their hand, we stood together, and we got what was a very good deal for the people of this country, and it's only the beginning. That's the important part to understand. We now go into the budget process. We go into the appropriations process. There are a number of triggers in this bill. Okay, the president cannot unilaterally spend money anymore. He spent $1.5 trillion on his own without any input from Congress in the last 2 years. He can no longer do that without cutting from somewhere. Okay, we also put in place a mechanism that if we don't get a budget, which by the way has not been done in like 2 decades, if we don't get a budget, then it'll be an automatic 1% cap every month. So this is, I think, you're going to see a lot of good things continuing to happen. We are certainly moving in the right direction, is because you guys gave the Republicans a seat at the table in last year's election. We are no longer under one-party rule, and unfortunately for the Democrats, they can no longer continue to spend this massive amount of money that has just fueled inflation over the last 2 years.